All right. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to another fabulous Wednesday. It is May 12th, 2021. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with our SPY. So, a lot of volatility yesterday. We talked yesterday about how a lot of the downside movement had occurred after hours. And so while we were in a dangerous position in the markets, we simply had to be prepared for large range yesterday. And that did play itself out in multiple ways. We can see that the SPY did have a nice reaction. And specifically, it reacted right around a daily level. This is a level that the market was sort of threatening if we were to lose and close below, as it is our most recent higher low. And since then, we've made subsequent higher highs, but we've been essentially consolidating in this range. So the most significant low that we want to support is the one that was set on, looks like April 20th. And we did achieve that through yesterday's price action. So market is still in an upper range, but we were definitely threatening the downside. And we saw a lot of that volatility yesterday with some of the movement in particular stocks and sectors. We also saw things like the Qs, which have been our weaker areas, give us nice follow through after multiple sessions of selling. What's interesting about this is not only did we have large downside the previous session, but we opened in a gap down. And when you're in that situation, you can kind of see how the gap is sort of another large red candle. And you can see that in things like the futures markets, where a lot of that downside is essentially baked in. And you are scouting for some volatile reactions, not so much a full retracement, but ultimately the market likes to move in wave-like patterns. And when you get a lot of that, I would say impulse wave to the downside, you certainly don't want to step in too late and assume that it's going to continue unless you have the right conditions of losing certain levels and facilitating the downside with things like stop losses and hedging activity. And yesterday, we simply did not have enough of that downside pressure. We did react pretty strongly against some areas of support, nothing super clean or clear on the Qs, but ultimately this area has held in the past, and we did react quite strongly off of it. We can see things like on the 4-hour, the fact that a lot of that after hours selling facilitates itself as those larger range red candles, and we get the actual intraday session along with that additional after hour session. So it becomes extended at a certain point. And when you get an impulse wave that's extended, you do expect some sort of pullback. Ultimately, you're looking for what the pullback does and how far does it take you. In this case, we can see how that double bottom from before, this is where the bulls were trying to prove strength and basically start to break their range to the upside. When they failed to do so, that's what led to that downside action. And now we can see how clean is the resistance turn, the support turn resistance on the Qs. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't get much better than that when it comes to coming to test the upside and showing that that is now acting as resistance. You know, the levels are super clear here, so I do like how structurally the Qs have reacted so far. Now, ultimately, same with the SPY, there's a lot of proving to do today. And what we want to see is either consolidation, and we want that consolidation to occur somewhere in this upper range, which will make a structural bull flag based on the retracement bounce. We want that to tighten and then to break in either direction, giving us some idea of directionality. And then ultimately, we would love to see this area break above and then back test to look for bullish setups. Because right now we are technically in a downtrend on the Qs. These bounces so far have been met with selling pressure, and the advantage has been to the bears to take some of these pops that we're getting and fade them into a break of the previous support. So very, very structural and normal technical analysis here. But the idea is that if you're looking for confirmation, we technically have not seen it yet in the Qs. What we've seen is strong retracement reactions. And that strength can give us some opportunity if you're early, but it can also give us some opportunity if you're looking for the upper range or the structure that's being formed. That's going to give us our patterns. That's going to give us our consolidation, that tightening of energy, and eventually a breakout, which will lead to our setups and our risk definition in a pattern. So lots to love in the Qs. They did see a nice bounce yesterday. And if we just look at the Qs itself, it forms itself in exactly the same way as the NQ, just with a different price level. So yeah, and Julian, it's exactly the same basic concept. You know, I'm talking high level analysis, not necessarily exact prices here. So finally, the IWM, ultimately still following along with the overall market. We did see a reaction in the IWM. We did see volume. So it does pique our interest, and it gives us the idea that this may be a low for the time being. We know where our high is, and we saw that the first attempt at a bounce failed. So while this was the potential for, you know, a test of the upper range, that failure means that it simply is a structure inside of the range, and the true range becomes low to high. So we can move this down. We can kind of see the upper and the lower areas. And we're also looking at some structures from the past to see how they're reacting on bounces, how they're reacting to the downside, et cetera, et cetera. So markets are in an interesting spot because the Qs have reacted so well in yesterday's session that we now have a nice all-time high area. We have that double bottom support that is now acting as resistance. And then we have the low from yesterday. So this, you know, structure of upper range and lower range, we're trying to see if the Qs are going to continue the downside momentum, or are they going to build some energy and break back above, giving us some potential, you know, trend change potential. And we'll look for the bulls to actually confirm it for us based on what they're doing with some of these support and resistance zones. What we want to keep in mind today, though, is that a lot of warning issues are still elevated. We do have a VIX that has risen quite significantly from the past couple of sessions. And with volatility, we want to keep in mind that it's not necessarily downside or bear or selling. It's all about range expansion. The markets, specifically things like the option markets in the SPX and the SPY, are starting to price in more expected move in the next 30 days, specifically with the VIX. But even with short-term volatility, things like weekly volatility, implied volatility inside of the SPX and the SPY, if you're looking at those items, you will notice how in Monday's session, we roughly had about a $6.1 move in the SPY, and that has expanded on Tuesday's session with some of the downside we saw in Monday's session. They basically said that, yes, the market did move a lot, but we're expecting even more. We're hedging against more volatility. So, the basic way to look at this is it's not necessarily sell everything, but it is saying get ready for expansion, get ready for extension into different ranges. Things are not the same as they were past couple of weeks. We're likely not going to see tight consolidation. We're going to see wide ranges. And then if they start to compress, that volatility might contract a little bit, leading to breakouts or breakdowns. And we can look at that more from the technical perspective as opposed to the quantitative perspective, which is what I'm discussing here. But, ultimately, if you saw the VIX elevated, you can look at the market and say, I'm not going to be as heavy today because I expect the range of the market to really facilitate the direction that I'm looking for. So if you were long yesterday, pre-market, early morning, you could give yourself a nice wide risk stop loss range, and you still got a ton of follow through and a lot of good names. So, that's something that is a lesson for if this occurs again and you're still intraday trading or just short-term trading, consider expanding your stop loss, being smaller in size, and allowing the volatility to facilitate the direction of the move, especially if you're directional in general. So just something to keep in mind. We're seeing things like the bond market actually starting to fall back down. Structurally, we haven't talked too much about this after we got through this ascending wedge. And we were essentially saying, okay, the TLT is at a spot on the weekly. We think that spot is interesting because it is a 200-day moving average and it's starting to build some energy after a full collapse of the TLT. And ultimately, the bulls had to prove it for turning this trend around. We stayed in this upper range for quite a while, saw a little bit of volatility in between. And then now we're really starting to see this break back down, back into an area that we came from. What I find interesting about this is if the bond market is starting to collapse again, are we seeing elevated interest rates? And the answer is yes. We saw a very volatile session. Let's see, that should be Friday. Yeah, Friday session. So we saw this volatile session, and now we're seeing this rise once again of the TYX or the TNX. It doesn't really matter which one you look at. And we've seen correlations occur in the past where rising interest rates bring about short-term fears of inflation, and it facilitates a reassessment of growth and tech-based names based on their valuations and some of their multiples, which are pricing in essentially cheap to borrow money. If that money becomes more expensive to borrow, do those valuations still make sense? And once again, does the momentum that has facilitated the tech bull run throughout the entirety of 2020 continue? Or is this beginning of something much larger? Is there a shift occurring where we're seeing interest rates continue to rise and the more reflationary economic recovery type stocks, materials, things like metals we're liking, industrials, those are going to take the lead from now on in the event that we're still in some sort of, I would say like final term bull market, that last extension of the bull market. So some things to keep in mind. Definitely want to keep this on watch because we're seeing, at least in the short term, some correlation here where rising interest rates are leading to some tech volatility. It's It's not necessarily that they're dropping off a cliff quite yet, but we have seen them start to readjust themselves in the short term. They're doing it in quick order. So we definitely want to see if that's going to continue. So this area, something to watch. You can do that with the TNX. You can do that with the TLT. Just kind of watch and see, does this continue to the downside and does tech follow along? Or is this, once again, a couple of days of volatility, a little bit of a short-term fear, and then that correction will occur where things start to rotate back in. We certainly saw a nice attempt yesterday. Let's see if it's going to continue or if it's just a 1 to 2 day bounce that gets faded into. I mentioned how things like gold and silver continue sort of that upper trend. They are still trending nicely. So if you're short term, definitely look for profit targets. We're still in previous price action history. We're not at all-time high breakout mode where everything's sort of just trending as normal. But if you're looking more long term, you definitely want to see things continue in this upper direction. And you definitely want to see things like the dollar continue its downward momentum. So far, so good. I would say even threatening this upper trend line. As we extend it out, we see that we did break it and we're back testing it at the moment. We're going to see if this just pushes away from it and comes to test the relative low that we have in the past. Looking at our sectors, just a couple of notes. I know we look at this pretty much every day, but some things that you may want to keep in mind. Energy was down yesterday, along with some of the volatility in the market, and yet crude was up. And in fact, it's up even further this morning. It's up about 1.3%. We're seeing the 20 moving average on the daily acting as support. It is trending using this moving average at this time. And we are coming into this downtrend resistance where we have our recent high setting up the stage for a breakout. You can view this in multiple ways. You can see how we've had this pullback. We came up pretty much all the way back up to this high. It's not perfect, but so far we're just looking at what the information is giving us. And now it is starting to curl once again, potential for a cup and handle type pattern. And at this point, I'm looking at this slight downtrend line to look for that breakout. I still believe energy has some good potential. And if crude's going to break out, I definitely want to be looking at things like XLE. XOM is another choice if you're looking at a slightly different product, or just some of the names that we like to trade. These are going to be some of our stocks. XOM, weakness with yesterday's market. CVX, we're looking at these pullbacks to see if they're viable. Things like SLB are standing out. You know, that one already made a new relative high, had the same sell signal, but actually had a decent moment in the sun yesterday, a decent session. And then, you know, the list goes down. Whatever stock you're looking at to get energy exposure, I think is a good choice to consider in the current conditions. We know that tech is correlated with QQQ. Definitely want to see tech take the reins here, along with XLY, which had a nice bounce off of the 50. We're still sitting below the previous all-time high. We would have preferred that act as an area of support. But if they're going to give us that bounce, we'll get back into this range and sort of see how it's moving from there. Volume is showing that there's a lot of interest yesterday. So definitely want to look at this candle as a range to consider, given how strong the volume was. If we get above this candle, it's important. If we get below this candle, it is also just as important. We've also filled the gap, which is always a nice structural thing to see. As long as you can fill this up, maybe the bulls will step back in and sort of use this as a bounce spot as the structure has been repaired. And then some of our strong sectors from the past, let's take a look at what they're doing from yesterday's session. Interesting rotation here as financials, one of our strongest sectors in recent history, is now coming back down. I mentioned this specifically because in the past, one of the key correlations was to the bond market. And we saw things like a rising interest rate lead to some relative strength in financials, and that has been facilitating itself for a long time. Short term, the financials are not liking what's happening in the bond market, and the sector rotation is not occurring in the past couple of sessions. We see elevated downside volume. We saw that sell signal from Monday's session. Sort of that final push, potential trend reversal signal, and ultimately the financials are very extended on the weekly. So if you were long financials, you're looking at profit targets at this point, and you're saying, if this is going to continue, you definitely want to see a pullback and sort of the right stuff for a bounce. But at this time, I'm definitely looking at financials as sort of topping out in the short term and letting them come back down to major support before reconsidering. Same thing with industrials. That warning sign, that sell signal did facilitate itself more to the downside. We did see a little bit of a bounce in yesterday's session. It's not as egregious as the financials, but the volume is elevated. So let this settle itself out, especially on the daily, and then always refer to your higher time frames to get a sense of how extended we are and what the potential downside could be on a pullback. You're looking for really the right structure to get back in if you think the trend will continue. And if you think the trend is over, this spot is one to consider, given that we're looking at sort of double range from low to high. If you think about just the COVID low to where we are, there's definitely a doubling of extension here. And those are usually decent targets, regardless of how wide that range is. The financials, maybe not exactly a double, but definitely extended. So always keep your higher time frames in mind. We do look at the lower time frames for short-term setups, opportunities within the intraday perspective. But if you're swing trading these, or if you have core positions in these, definitely don't be afraid to take a sell signal and loosen your risk to the downside. Just something to keep in mind. And then, across the board, we have things like consumer staples and healthcare still looking decently strong, still elevated, seeing some of the pullback and the volume from yesterday. But ultimately, they did make new all-time highs. And we want to take these as they come, allow the structure to build itself before we say that those are extended tops. Because at the end of the day, their structure is actually not that bad. We came from a lot of consolidation in recent history, and some of these pullbacks may be viable as staples and healthcare have been starting to show themselves as some of the leaders in recent history. Financials and industrials may be a bit too extended and may facilitate a little bit more downside. So those are some opportunities to always keep in mind. We want to see how sectors are doing. And really what we're trying to gauge here is where's the money flowing into based on yesterday's session? Is it all back into the same stuff? The answer is short term, no. The rotation did occur slightly differently than some of our other bullish sessions. Did everything recover, immediately? I would say once again, no. Things like energy and industrials took quite a while to even get a bounce going. And are we seeing maybe a rotation into some of the laggard sectors? I would say things like biotech had a fantastic day yesterday, probably to the surprise of a lot of people, because once again, technology was down so heavily It led to some of the breaking of the support structures in the past couple of sessions. But then all of a sudden, a quick turnaround bar, and we're getting a lot of volume starting to step itself back into biotech. We also talk about how healthcare is still holding at some of these elevated levels. So is biotech starting to form a base? Is it at an area of interest on the weekly? I would say absolutely. Look at this double top resistance that led to the breakout. We finally came and tested this area, and now we're seeing a reaction in the short term. Are we seeing nice monthly consolidation? I would say maybe not completely, but this is a strong sector in the past that has sold off for the past 4 months. Maybe there's some opportunity here, not for all-time highs. We, of course, can't predict that, but support or resistance turn support, some potential scaling in, and you're ultimately looking for some sort of 50% lower high. That's an opportunity that may be attractive to you. And if you're looking at different areas, this is one that occurred yesterday where if I said, where's the money going? Biotech was definitely on in the spotlight yesterday. So something to keep in mind. Another one that we briefly mentioned, something like solar. So yes, solar has been beaten down for quite a while. It has been challenging to find when the selling will stop in the solar sector. And I'm using the TAN ETF to get some idea of that diversification and the structure here. But once again, on the weekly, we're coming to the 50, and we did break down through it, but we're seeing a nice reaction so far based on yesterday's session. We're near some support areas. It's not nearly as clean as biotech, but if you're looking at the potential for this monthly consolidation to find its bottom, there may be some opportunity in the next couple of sessions. Definitely want to just keep this on watch. It's way too early to really tell if that monthly higher low has been set. The candle hasn't even closed yet, so we definitely cannot make that call. But we're seeing a day where there was a lot of interest. And if that day continues, can they change the short-term trends? 4 hour, daily. If they change the daily trend, can the weekly offer some opportunity for a lower high? Once again, we'll see if that structure forms. And then from there, that monthly lower high is definitely on the table, as a lot of our shorter term trends have changed. The money and the rotation back into this area will have shown itself at that point very clearly. And then the monthly lower high is going to be the overall target if you're looking for a longer term position in here. So there's a lot of work to do left in here. I'm just pointing out things that had reactions yesterday that were better than other areas. And those reactions are what get us interested. We're basically saying, here's a spot where things are starting to shift. Is that shift temporary, or is it something much larger? And we'll see the structure form as the days come on. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Volatility remains elevated, as I mentioned before. Do not go out into this market and think that things are done with a lot of the volatility. We're going to probably see a little bit more rotation today. It's very unusual for a market to just sort of correct itself in one day with that level of volatility, sort of the V-bottom approach. So likely a little bit of battling, a little bit of consolidation of yesterday's gains. And then from there, if we see those range breakouts, we'll definitely step into the momentum and allow the momentum to carry us through some of those key resistances if we have enough strength. Otherwise, the breakdown of the markets, that can easily continue, as yesterday was just the first day of a bounce. So looks like the SPY is falling. Some numbers just came out, so looks like I'm speaking a little too early. Let's see what we got going on in the SPY. Yeah, things are going to get volatile today. We're actually seeing reactions to some of the news that's coming out. So, keep your risk in check. Do not think you're smarter than this market, and allow yourself the opportunity to expose yourself to volatility while keeping your risk defined and even expanding it so that you know you're not going to get those wick outs or those large movements against you. So trade safe, take it easy. We'll talk tomorrow and see what else the market has to offer.
Good morning, guys. Welcome to the pre-market prep. That was pretty well said. Do not think you're smarter than this market and keep your risk in check. So thank you, Jared. All right, perfect. Let's make sure I got everything going here. Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Norm, good morning.
Where is she for a second?
Oh, there you go. Now I hear you. Perfect. Sweet. All right, guys. Very interesting market. Norm, let's get right into what's going on with the SPY. I know you were mentioning this in the chat room. Let's get right into it. What's happening right now?
Yeah, I mentioned it for a couple of days. We've been anticipating the CPI number inflation index that came out here a few minutes ago. It came in way hotter than expected. I think a lot of people are seeing this. I don't know. Usually in a family, you've got one person that goes and does the grocery shopping. I don't know how many people in here are that person in their family or not, but I even mentioned it to my wife yesterday that prices on things are going up like crazy. I had my mother-in-law here all last week. She'd mentioned how when she goes to, she mentioned a specific drugstore. I can't remember if it was CVS or Walgreens, but every single item she usually buys tends to be going up $1, not like this is $2 and now it's $2.10 or $2.20, but it's up now $3. So, people are seeing this. Obviously, gas prices much higher than they've been over the last year. On top of that, we've got the pipeline issues that people on the East Coast are suffering with, which really isn't in this data set, but just overall prices going higher. It was kind of a foreseen deal. So we'll see. We're sitting at right on some support levels for the SPY. So if it breaks lower than this, could be concerning. VIX has popped up. We had the VIX pop yesterday. Jared went over this info in his engineering the market section. So I'm not going to rehash it, but that's really what we're looking at. We'll see how it goes.
All right, excellent.
See if this sticks.
Yeah, we sure will. I mean, we had, speaking about the market just being insane, we had an amazing day yesterday, guys. Let's go over some of the stuff we're looking at. Starting with JMIA. So hopping right in here, guys. This was a real nice one, guys. This was very, very clean. And we saw this beautiful support happening at 1784. Look at that there. And then just at the mark at the bell, this thing just took off. A lot of the stocks we had yesterday, if you guys remember, let me zoom in a little bit here to get a nicer view, or closer at least. A lot of them started going around 8 o'clock, 8:15 or so. You started to see this bounce. I believe it was Neo. Some of the ones already did this. This one did not, but right at the open, it was just amazing. Took off, gave you a little bit of a rest period here, let the 9 moving average catch up, and then just grabbed onto that and broke out nicely from this next level, 22.29. So again, pretty nice there. Space, same situation here, guys. Just a beautiful overall bounce yesterday. Things were down. Everything was red. yesterday, and I think for the most part, a lot of them recovered nicely. I don't think all of them got into the green, but a lot of them recovered pretty well into the market open. Here's Mara. Bitcoin also took off here. This is what I'm talking about. A15, you can see this move starts to get going here. So that was pretty good there. Apple, same situation. This one, unfortunately, not as clean as some of the other ones that were really beat down, like a plug. Plug was just insane. Here's what I'm talking about. Again, A15 starts to take off and then really never looks back, guys. Just an amazing play there. Neo, same situation. A15 or so, A35, the takeoff. Again, just we can go on and on about some of the pops we got yesterday on the overall list that we were watching. So with that said, let's look into our gappers list now. Let's see what we got going on this morning. Again, there's a lot. There's a lot on both sides, actually, both in the green and in the red. And we'll keep a close eye on the SPY and what's developing there as we move forward into this pre-market activity this morning. Guys, before we forget, let's give Jared a big thumbs up for his engineering the markets every single morning here at 8 a.m. We highly, highly appreciate that from you guys over in YouTube. So again, he does an amazing job. And if you want to show him some love in the main chat, give him a thumbs up there as well. Let's show him some love there. All right, guys, let's start with what's gapping up today. Eyes this morning, they are... what do we have here? Up 25% today, 4.8 million shares traded right now. So again, looking pretty good there. As far as this being a former runner, we have seen this run in the past. And I think, Norm, I think you took a couple of trades in this in the past.
Yeah, it's been a while, right? But yeah. Yep.
So we'll see, guys. Former runner, this thing can definitely get going. I don't remember. Yeah, it's a low flow, 18 million. So not too low of a flow, but you still got to be very careful. Treat it like one. We're going to add it on here. Eyes, 4.8, up 25%. So that's pretty nice this morning. UPST, 48 million shares flow. This one is up 23% right now. Up nicely here this morning. So let's see what we got going on. Pre-market action, not looking all that great. There is a little bit of volume here. I'm concerned with the price action on this one. They don't get a whole lot of volume for the most part on any given day. He looks like really less than 4 million shares traded. So that could be concerning. I think we had this in the past as well, UPST. Yeah. And I don't remember.
Every once in a while it trades well. They had earnings last night, so they've got a legit catalyst. We'll see.
Okay, nice.
We'll see how it does.
Cool. So I was going to say, I don't remember how they traded it at that time, but we'll keep it on here, guys. Pre-market action definitely active this morning, and you have a catalyst, so that's nice, as Norm mentioned. AHDX, this one here, guys, up 21.4, 362,000 shares traded. Pre-market action not as clean. The float on this one is 29. I'm on the fence on this. Let's come back to it. Let's put it as a possible for now. We'll see what comes out of that one. Next, we have Fubo. Fubo right now, we've seen this one go in the past as well. Had a big day yesterday, and like many stocks did, but they're gapping up huge today, 20%, guys.
They had earnings.
Nice. All right.
So they had earnings last night.
Fubo, we're going to add this one on here. We know they can get going with some good, decent volume and trade okay. Pre-market action, a little bit all over the place right now, but I mean, they're up 20%. So let's keep an eye on this one. U is up 3.4, 141,000 shares traded. Nice day yesterday. Pre-market action is not great though. I'm not seeing a whole lot of activity at the moment. Let's take a look quickly on what it did yesterday. You did get a nice little pop here. Could have been just the overall market helping it out here like it did to many stocks. Yeah, hard to tell if it was a clean one or not. Again, I'm concerned with this one a little bit. Doesn't get great volume for the most part. I'm going to leave it off, guys. If you guys see this get better, you let me know about you if it's turning good. So let me know about that. INO, this one here, 3.2, 254,000 shares traded. We've seen better out of INO. And again, I think it only traded well yesterday because the overall market popped up. Aside from that, this stock has not been great, guys. So right now you're getting a little bit of a pop here. I don't know how much you can trust the movement on this one and if it's going to be clean. We'll have to wait and see on that. Here's Open, and they are also, again, we're not going to give too much credit on anything that has such a day like this yesterday, right? Because everything did. But right now, looking at the pre-market activity at the moment, 291,000, up 1.7. It's okay. We'll throw it on here. We'll come back to that one. Here's TIGR. This morning, they are up 2%. 430,000 shares traded, but not a great pre-market action. So I'm not seeing anything too exciting here. A lot of that volume sitting on this one candle here, 60,000 shares traded, based probably on the move that just happened with the market. So I'm not a big fan of what's going on there at the moment. All right, let's see what's gapping down. We got quite a bit in here. ARRY this morning, they are down 27%. It's a big drop today. 885,000 shares traded. They probably have something going on
Earnings
their
last
own.
night.
Oh yeah, definitely like that. So earnings last night. Hold on a second. ARRY. Let's put that on there. There we go. So that looks good, guys. Down huge today. Let's see what happens after this bell goes off here. But again, pre-market action very active so far. LITE, this one is down nice today as well. 9.1, 251,000 shares traded. For the most part, we've seen this one before. It does not trade very well. Their daily is horrible, as you can see here. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Is there any news on this?
Yeah, absolutely. They had earnings this morning, but the big thing has which one are you talking about? Sorry, I lost my track for a second. Yeah, they had earnings this morning, and their outlook wasn't great. So,
okay, gotcha. All right, big drop today. We'll see. We'll see. For the most part, they're not the best intraday trading stock. I'm putting them as impossible just because they have earning, and then we can probably guess something out of that. IHT this morning, they are, man, look at this daily. Just insane. Hanging around 250 and a couple of days here popping up to 6, 7, and 8.5. Right now they are up 5.9 with 113,000 shares traded with probably the worst pre-market activity we have seen in a very long time. So let's quickly look at what they did yesterday. And this doesn't even look clean. Couple of halts in here as well. Yeah, I don't know about this.
This is a REIT, dude.
It is.
I couldn't figure out why I wasn't familiar with what you were talking about here, but yeah, that's a REIT.
I appreciate that. You saved us a lot of time there, guys. So horrible there. Let's skip on that one. PSFE. This one this morning, it's not looking great. Down 5.8, 136,000 shares traded. But yeah, I don't see anything good on that one. So let's skip on to Roblox. Space. Excuse me. Space here. This one was very active yesterday. Today, I'm not seeing a whole lot. They're down 4.6 to 128,000, but their pre-market activity not as great this morning. Let's skip down. Roblox has a decent pre-market activity after a nice pop yesterday. This thing IPO'd not so long ago, and they've been holding above their IPO price, it looks like. So that could be interesting if we can go back up and break out of this 78 area. That has been an area of great resistance for them. This could be nice. This could be nice, Roblox. I don't like this one as much. I'm going to put it as a possible because of that. But let's see what happens today. Here's Riot. So we got some of the Bitcoin stuff coming up here. Riot this morning, they're down 3.4, 155,000 shares traded. Looking at their pre-market action, I don't see anything great. We'll skip it for now. Roblox we did look at already. Here's MT. These guys are foreign. They usually don't trade very well, so skipping on down. SKLZ. These guys, they've been active. I know a lot of you guys been watching this one. They were great yesterday, like everything else. Today, they're down 2.9. Could be a good possible at the moment. We'll come back to that one. CCIV, we haven't seen this one in some time. They're down 3% right now, 162,000 shares traded. Their daily looks very interesting here, bouncing off that previous support we had in the past. Yeah, this could be good today. Let's add this onto our main list, CCIV. And we will stop here. Oh, let's look at DDD first. This one was gapped up huge, and yeah, not much going on right now. Maybe a possible continuation today if it can hold on to this. We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's look at some of the favorites. I know you guys are probably going to throw out. We'll look at NIO. We'll look at Apple. We'll look at Tesla. NIO this morning, I think, is decent. Not as much volume as we saw yesterday. It was just insane. But I think NIO, yeah, it was wild. Wild. But I think NIO will be a good one today to watch. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Again, keep an eye also on the overall market and how things are going there. Tesla will be a good one today as well. If you like that one, I'm going to put it as a possible in here. Let's go on down and see what else we have, guys. So Market Man, you're giving us BABA. We have not looked at BABA in some time. They are up 1.4, 417,000 shares traded. Again, nice gap up here this morning. Pre-market action, although it looks bad, guys, this is typical BABA pre-market action. So don't put too much weight on how they trade in the pre-market. This can actually get better after the market bell. So again, I don't like trading BABA. I'm not good at trading this type of stock the way it moves, so I'm going to skip on it. But if you like that one, it does look like it can be a good one for today. Here's Fubo. We do have that one on deck. NIO we have on deck as well. POTR, again, also great yesterday. I mean, everything was just great yesterday. Down right now a little bit less than 1% this morning. Good volume though, 3.2 million shares traded. So that could actually be very interesting. So let's keep eyes on that one. Bank of America has a good daily. Let's see. It does. I'm concerned how this is going to move today. Their pre-market action though very active for the way these banks usually start their day. Any news? Have anything going on, guys? In like independent news for Bank of America alone? I'm going to put it on here for now because I do have some movement here this morning. Again, this could be overall market stuff as well. Moving on well after CPI. Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yep.
Fuel cell. That's what it is, right, Norm? Yeah.
Yep.
Fuel cell this morning. Again, just wrapping around itself between this previous day close. I don't see anything overly exciting on this one just yet. We do have some other ones on here. We have NEO. We have Tesla. Plug actually is looking rather interesting. Also wrapping itself around this previous.
I was gonna possibly call out Plug as well.
Yeah, this looks good. Let's add Plug. I like the way that's moving this morning. Better than Fuel Cell, actually. I know they're both wrapping around the previous day close, but Plug does look slightly, or actually more better. All right, heading on down. Plug, we have AMD. Let's take a look here. AMD this morning, yeah, they're okay. I don't see anything great. Let's take a look at Apple. Let's see, is Apple looking any better? Yeah, they're both
Apple's
pretty much
decent.
Yeah, they both pretty much have the same pattern, but Apple is going to give you just a better overall price action, guys. We know this. We know they're going to get the volume. You know they're going to trade well. AMD could be a kind of a hit or miss type stock, but this one, you know, it's going to do what it has to do. So looking good right now so far. DKNG, you know what? I'm not a big fan of DKNG, the way it's been trading the last couple of days. It hasn't been all that great, at least for what I've seen. At the moment, again, not anything special on it right now. What else we have, guys? A few more. NERV. This one is up 18%, but giving a lot of it back right now. It went up to 305, now at 264. Their pre-market, I don't like this pre-market action when you start dropping like this. You do have shares for short. Just be careful, guys. It's not hanging around $2 here. For the most part, they don't get a whole lot of volume. Yesterday, they had a big day as far as volume, 6.5 million. Today, already 4.3. So it could be interesting. Maybe what's the float on this? A risky pile? I don't think it's a low flow though. Doesn't seem like it is. No, it's not moving like a low flow. So just be careful. This lower price stock, higher floats, their price action can tend to be a little funky at times. All right, let's stop here, guys. Let's take a look over at some of the stuff over on YouTube. X is good. I like the daily on X, guys. The pre-market is not great, but X, I like X. We're going to put X on here. This is good. Again, they've been trading very well. If you look at their dailies, getting pretty nice over the last couple of months. We've been talking about X quite a bit. And we see the beautiful breakout here out of 24 over to 28. So that is good. All right, over on YouTube, Fubo, we do have Fubo. QS, I believe we have looked at before. It is not a great trading stock. They had a great breakout that was called out by a couple of our members here, and that was fun. But then from there, hasn't really done much.
Good earnings last night.
They did. Not a whole lot of movement after earnings. After earnings this morning, last night, obviously you can see that there. So could be interesting. I'll wait for this one to hit the scanners or get a little more volume. Right now, it's not looking all that great at the moment. That could change with that type of stock. LMND, this one here, it is down 8%. Only 100,000 shares traded, so the volume is a little bit on the lighter side, guys. And the pre-market actions are all over the place. Now, I think this one we traded before in the past.
We have. Right. It IPO'd not too long ago, and we traded it near the IPO. But it's been kind of a dog ever since then. So
Right. It is not the best intraday trading stock. Their volume is very light, guys. So just be careful with that one, and be very mindful of the spread, how that's looking. Right now, you almost have a 50-cent spread on this, guys. Don't get fooled by the 200 shares somebody has here at these two price tags. You could look at the movement here. Their spread is pretty wide, so be careful. PLTR we have on deck. Plug we have on deck. X we have on deck. That's good. Collins, you're giving us APTV. No, that's no action there. That's not looking great right now. Is gray the color or gray the actual ticker? Yeah, so yes, it's not moving good right now, guys. It's down 7%. Pre-market action is really choppy all over the place. So again, just not anything good. And also the dailies is not great. You're getting no volume on this for the most part. Yeah, just be careful with that. All right, last one, coin. Again, very hard stock to trade. Had a good day the last couple of days, but for intraday trading, this is not a great stock, guys. So I'm staying away from it now. It's kind of like Roblox. Sometimes these IPOs, when they start, they don't trade very well. Roblox has not traded very well. Look at this daily. It needs to settle down if it can settle down. But right now, these recent IPOs are not doing all that great at the moment. So. All right, guys, let's go over. I think we covered quite a bit. We have a decent list this morning. Let's get to announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list. We're a little bit early on it, but that's okay.
All right. We had Andrew's webinar last night, and that should be
he was out sick, guys, last night, and we kind of hung out in the webinar room. It was a couple of us there, actually a big group, and we talked for about 34 minutes or so, 40 minutes. But yeah, he's gonna reschedule that most likely for today at 8 p.m. and replace the psychology webinar, and then Mike will do his psychology webinar next week. So we'll see. Hopefully, he feels again. This is all if he feels better. So hopefully, if he feels better, he'll be trading today. He'll be able to do that webinar.
Perfect. Sorry, I missed it. Those are right at the time that I put my kid to bed, so I wasn't able to make it myself last night. So tonight you've got 8 p.m. Mike's psychology webinar that Carlos just spoke about, handling the emotions of trading, and then next week we've got our mindfulness coach Nada at 8 p.m. talking about it's titled "Let the Storm of Emotions Pass Without Drowning You," which is a good thing in trading. Get your mind out of whack, and it's very tough to trade clearly. All right. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day. It should obviously have entries and exits so we can see the trade, and then mark it up with any commentary you can provide. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bear Bull Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading Stock Market. We'll announce the winner for each day on Twitter in the afternoon, and then the team will vote on all the trades of the day from the week and announce the trade of the week on Monday. If you are watching on YouTube, haven't been in the chat, you can do so at a discount. Use the promo code PREMARKET24. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership. The intro membership is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room, does not auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership, and also gives you access to the live onboarding and technology classes we put on every Monday night. Also, if you're looking to either upgrade your membership or become an elite member and get access to all the webinars and everything we do, use the promo code MEMORIAL40. That'll get you 40% off the annual elite membership.
All right, excellent, folks. Let's get right into it. All right, let's fine tune this list. We got quite a nice list already. USPT, let's start there. This one is up this morning 25%, 333,000 shares traded. In the past, they have traded very well when they have a catalyst. They have that today, so hopefully we can take advantage of that. Fubo is good as well, guys. Moving pretty nice this morning. Great volume, 2.2, and climbing up 18.4. So that's very nice after a nice day yesterday as well. ARRY, this one is down huge, guys, down 27%. Volume is good as well. Pre-market is good, so I like these three so far. CCIV not looking as great as the last three as far as pre-market action, but this one could move. So right now they're down 2.5. Let's get rid of some of these levels we have down here. And yeah, let's see where this goes today. Might be a good possible depending how the rest of these look. I know we like Neo this morning. That one's looking good. Plug is looking very nice. Both of these dropping lovely here. App was a good one. Yeah, we might have to move CCIB down. And maybe X. I like the daily on X, but the pre-market action is slightly on the weaker side as far as the other ones we just looked at. So make a little room over here. We're going to throw X down here, and we are going to throw another one over. It's going to be CCIV are getting moved down to our secondary list here. So let's get rid of X and CCIV, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think this is all you need, guys. Really, the market right now is kind of moving these stocks around quite a bit. So just keep an eye on the SPY. Obviously, we saw that yesterday, that beautiful bounce, and a lot of stock followed through, even starting very early around 8:30. You start to see some of the bounce that we got going there. So as far as that, let's take a look over at UPST. We'll do levels there. Fubo, ARRY, Neo, Plug, and also Apple this morning. Secondary list too long. Let's fine tune this. CCIV we liked. We moved that one from the main list down here. X again, X pre-market action is not looking great, but their daily is good. Bank of America breaking out here nicely. For a bank, this is trading very, very well pre-market, so we'll keep it on here. POTR could be a good one, guys. Also, you can move this up to your main one. For example, if you don't like the way UPST is looking right now, because this could be a hit or miss, we'll have to see. Maybe POTR could be one that's up there. Now, the thing here is I don't want to have too many of the stocks that are going to be moving so tied into the SPY, the overall market. For example, POTR, Plug, Apple, Neo, all these guys are really moving with the market right now. So I don't want to have all that in there. But if you want to do that, you can. SKLZ, okay. Roblox, I'm going to remove Roblox. I think today we just have so many stocks that are trading so well. I don't think that's going to be one that we want to look at. Light could be interesting. I'm concerned here a little bit with the spread. The spread is about 80 cents, not about 75 cents or so right now. So that could be a little bit rough to be on to have on the list this morning, given how great this list is so far. Also, keep in mind this thing can move, guys. This candle here, let's take this one. It's a little nice and small one compared to everything else on here. This one's from 76.48 down to 75.60. So you almost have a couple of almost a whole dollar in there. So it kind of tells you how much this stock can move. Be very, very careful with the number of shares you take on something like this, right? So let's get rid of that. And also, even more important, look at the volume. This thing can drop. What is this? 90 to 85. It's almost $5 plus there with just 2 million shares traded. So that kind of tells you what kind of stock this is. Be very, very careful. I'm going to remove it from my main list this morning. LHDX is looking okay, guys. Is it a low float? What was this? HLDX. No, 28.9 million shares flow. So looking good right now, guys. Pre-market action, very active, starting to get going. Looks like it wants to break this 7 here and head higher. Let's see if it does that. INO, no, this is garbage. This is garbage. Let's get rid of this. I don't like it. Open here is, it's okay. It's okay. On a regular day, maybe this would have been good, but today, not there. And Tesla is definitely good as well. So, all right, pretty good. Let's start doing some levels, guys. Here, let's go over on UPST. We'll put a level up here over at 112.80 is the high of our pre-market for today. Above that, look at that level there too. Look how much touches you have around that level and that price action as well. Slightly above that, we do have a 123.14. 123.14 is a good one. Also, great area support right on here, so that is nice. All the way up here, 134.22, and just got to mark this so clean. When you can find levels this clean, it's nice because everybody else is going to probably have the same levels, right? Which helps us, right? If you're the only person watching the level, it's probably not going to go very well, right? You need everybody else to also look at these levels as well. That's what makes it the thing, when you get there, you start seeing that resistance, that battle between buyers and sellers, between the bid and the ask. If nobody else is looking at that, then you're on your own. That's not going to work. 106.05, another low of the pre-market here towards the bottom. We do have a level here at a 169 cents, 169 cents there. And towards the bottom, guys, plenty of levels, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days there on UPST. Here's Fubo this morning, high of the pre-market 21.94. Towards the bottom, we're looking at 20.61, so that's pretty good there. Below that, we do have 19.33, a great area. Where's my Epic pen here? Let's bring this out. This actually shows it better. Guys, let me know. I'm using Epic pen again. I stopped using it because it was causing a little bit of a lag with the software. So if you start seeing some kind of lag as I'm using this pen here, let me know and we'll stop using it again, because this does take a lot of resources when we are streaming. So on YouTube, at the end of the stream, let me know if that worked out pretty good, and also in our chat room as well. So over here, guys, great area of resistance right over there. A lot of touches all the way around here between this time frame, so that's looking pretty good there for Fubo. Towards the top, we do have a clear level here of resistance right over there, and then towards the top, again, you can mark this one here. This 23.94, but it's very clear that you have many touches on this 23.21. You got a resistance over there. You got a day closing around that area as well. So again, it's a lot more touches than this just one single rejection there. So I'm going to have that one also on my list. All All right, what else do we have? ARRY, this one here this morning, high of the pre-market at 21.23. This one looks good because again, it's a big drop today, 27%. So we'll see if this thing wants to, head back down, or is it going to start heading up to close some of this gap that we have here. Again, it's down huge this morning. If we go over to the left here, let's take a look. Let me get rid of this. Do we have anything else below in this area? Oh, it just gets wacky here. Look at this daily. I'm not sure what took place here and around this area. I'm not gonna go back and find that out neither. So we'll just take some levels. We have this really good one here over at 29.21, but towards the bottom, what do we have? Do we have anything down here? Let's see. Here we go. Yes, going back 2019 or 2018, the end of that year. Right over here, you got a great level of resistance right there. A great resistance. Couple of days cannot break out of that between November and December. Over here as well, 1612, 1491, and then all the way down here, also at 1363. I don't think we'll get there, but again, this thing is down quite a bit. We have some good levels towards the bottom, just in case this thing does drop. Here is NEO, guys. NEO low of the pre-market sitting at 34. So we'll mark that. Let's hold on. We got some older levels. Let's get rid of those. Low of the pre-market 34. Well, there we go. 34. High of the pre-market slightly above the high from yesterday at 35.80. And you're pretty much set as far as levels, at least towards the top. You got plenty of highs and lows in there. You got the previous day close. You're pretty much covered there. If we go over here, look at this level too, 34. It's a great area of support right over here and right over here. The last two times that we came down, we held that level. Again, a lot of stuff broke from the lows yesterday, and we did bounce back up right above that level. I mean, that just didn't happen on NEO. It happened on quite a bit of a stocks there, but you can see that level is very important to this stock. If we move over to the left, do we have something towards the bottom in between this gap here? I don't think we do. Maybe right in here over in November. Do we have anything clean? No. This is the cleanest level is already listed here, guys. This is what we have. Your next one is going to be this 32, which again, great support in the past here back in March. So that is NEO moving very well this morning. It looks very good. Here's Plug, guys. So Plug, you do have a nice drop happening this morning. Low of the pre-market at the moment, 22.17. And then towards the bottom, guys, you have the highs and lows from the last two trading days. So you're pretty much covered there. I don't think you need to add any more. Now towards the top, you do have 25.56, great area there of resistance right on here. You also have amazing support right on there. See that every time it came to this level, it found support. It did dip lower here. It gapped down actually, but it was able to recover as well. So 25.52, great area of possible resistance if we can get going here. Right now, not looking too strong this morning. Here's Apple, guys, and again, Apple very active, and this is one. Although yesterday, if you look at the intraday action yesterday after the bell, right in here, there was a lot of other stocks that were very clean at the market open. Right here was a little bit choppy, just had no direction at first. It did get much better later down the line, but there was a lot of stocks that even at 8:30 already started looking really good for a possible bounce back play, and they did just that. Apple was not one of them. You did get a good play there later on, but just not a great continuation after the bell opened up. So as far as levels, let's go back to our pre-market action at the moment. We do have the low of the pre-market at 123.70. Towards the bottom, you have the low from yesterday. And then below that, in here, we do have a couple of levels we can mark down. We have this one here. Tons of touches happening around 120. You can see that there. If you draw a line on that, you can see how many touches you're getting at that level. Yes, you do have a couple of days that dip below that, but notice when they are dipping below this 120, they're finding a way to bounce back up and close above that. So that's okay. I'll take the level that we're hitting the most here. 119 is another one, and obviously all the way down here 116. So you're pretty much set here on Apple, guys. Some pretty good levels towards the top and the bottom as well. All right, excellent. So that's our list for today, guys. Let's recap UPST breaking out of 122.80. I am still going to 112.80. Excuse me. I'm still going to keep this pre-market high. I'm still going to keep that on. There was a battle that happened there, so now this thing might come down, and that could be good support now. So we'll see where this goes. The next level we have is 123.14. Let's see if we're going to get a nice little run up there, or if we're going to chop around a little bit here before we do that. Here's Fubo also bouncing back of this 2060. That looks good. Great pre-market action, great volume. ARRY looking good as well. Neo, amazing volume as well, moving well. Plug is doing good too, 1.1. So again, just a good volume overall on all these stocks that we have on our list this morning. All right, perfect. We're done actually pretty early today, 9:05. Let's take a look what we have here, guys, from our moderators, and then we might have time to answer any questions you guys have, because we are slightly ahead of schedule today. All right, let's bring in our moderators watch list. Let's look at their lineup for today. All right, here we go. So starting with Peter, no IPOs for today: IPW, GLBE, SMWB this morning. Thor is looking at Plug, POTR, Neo, and Fubo, all amazing. And I think I have them all on my list as well. Tiffany's looking at Fubo, POTR, ARRY. Secondary list, Tesla and Bank of America. Both of these also on my secondary list. They're looking very nice this morning. Mike is a break of high scanners as usual, and looking at JP Morgan and Coin today for those for that strategy that he loves to trade there. So, all right, pretty good, guys. Let's see what we have here. I saw some comments in the chat. Maybe we can go over a few things. Let's see here if we have anything, if any questions, anything we can go over again. No. I don't need to upgrade anymore. The CPU is pretty good. All right. Okay, perfect. So no questions. That is good. How about on YouTube, guys? Any questions? Did we look at Mara? Let's take a look at Mara. How is Mara doing today? No, we did not look at Mara. We looked at Riot. This one's okay this morning. Volume is there. It's down 3.9. We do have some levels from yesterday that can play well today. Yeah, this could be interesting, but I don't like it more than what I have here. I might like it more than UPST, right? So UPST, I have it on here because it does have some potential. It doesn't look great. Mara does look better than this, but I have a couple in the green, right? Everything else is down, and I think Mara's going to be another one that moves with the market. We have some great stocks that are going to move with the market today. We have Neo, we have Plug, and we have Apple. These three, I guarantee you, they are going to move with the market this morning. So I think Mara is going to fall into that sector as well. So I don't want to really keep an eye on it. I have X here because I like the daily on this one. We have Fubo is good, and UPST are both in the green this morning. I wonder if the market shows any kind of strength. Are these going to get, piggyback off of that and get going, right? So I'll be looking forward to that. We did not look at any low flows. Actually, no, we did. Eyes. Yep, hold on. Here's Eyes. Let's delete some rows. Yes, we did look at Eyes, and this one is up 19.8. And this one started off with a great pre-market activity. Has kind of slowed down a little bit, stalling a little bit this morning, and over at 630, and kind of giving you a little bit of a down movement here right now. But this one could be explosive, guys. 6.3 million shares traded. We've seen this do very well. It is up 19.6 at the moment. So we'll have to see how that makes out. Can you explain what just happened for Apple on the chart, where where this move came from? Is it a bad print? Let's see what happened on Apple. Are you talking about this wick right here? If you're talking about this, yeah, it just could be a bad print. We'll have to see. Did the SPY did the same move there? Because sometimes the SPY would do a move like this. No. You see some of these stocks do that. It didn't. All right.
No.
So again,
it looks like it was something that was it was a trade that took place yesterday and reported this morning. Most likely, I didn't see it go through, but
yeah, I didn't see
that would be my guess.
Either. I mean, usually, guys, when you see this type of stuff here and you see it around 9 o'clock, this one happened a little bit earlier. It looks like around 8:30 or 8 a.m. Usually there's a bad print, just a couple of orders being posted there. And when this happens, you could be in a trade. Let's say you're short here and you have a stop loss order here waiting to be filled. The triangle will not be filled. It will do this and come back down, and your order will not get filled because you can't get filled on something like this. So don't think that is something wrong with your platform. It's just you won't get filled. That has happened to me. I've seen it in the past. So it's pretty much kind of a bad print. All right, any questions, guys? Norm, anything that we might have missed that we did not cover?
Not that I can think of. Just be careful out there today with that data that came through. So,
yeah. Agree 100%. Peter's coming out with his list: Plug, Fubo, PLTR, secondary list, AMD, Apple, Eyes, and Bank of America on his list as well. So that's pretty good there. How much volume do you look for in the pre-market? So we like to see more than 100,000. Our scanners here are
This
set
is a
up.
different story than it was a year ago, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We could actually move that to about 200,000. But we have these at 200,000. We at least want to see that. And what Norm is referring to, guys, if you're new to to the community or in the channel, basically in the past, this list would have been this right here on our best days for both gapping up and gapping down. You will not get this here unless there was some movement like the SPY today.
We didn't used to have two lists, but we changed
No.
it because they were too long, so we had to show both sides of it.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
calming down a little bit. I will say that.
It has gotten better, no question. It has gotten better, but nowhere near what it was a couple of years back when we first started doing this show. Here is Brian's list. He's looking at ARY, Light, Piton, Neo, and LHDX for fun. Eamon is not liking much, but if he does like something, it's going to be OCGN, Workhorse, QS, secondary list Mara, Baba, and Guild this morning. So, all right, guys, 9:11 so far. So we got still a couple of minutes before we shut it down. I think we're pretty good so far at the moment. If we look at our list right here, UPST still getting above that pre-market high here, so that is very nice. Let's see if it continues. Fubo is doing okay. ARRY, we all have this one on our list. Is down quite a bit here. And Norm, I think you mentioned this was earnings, right? I believe it was. No, I forgot the catalyst on this one. I know you mentioned
ARRY had earnings last night.
Okay, so that's a good one.
They've also had some downgrades this morning.
Okay, all right, good. So that's some good news there. Well, not for them, but for us. Neo, very active, guys. I'm looking forward to that. Plug looks great today. I really like this one. And also Apple moving very well. It looks like things are dropping a little bit, so maybe the SPY is taking a turn towards the downside. Repeat question here. Somebody has a question. Do we have a daily goal? Yes and no. I have a number that if I'm above that number, I'm comfortable and I can stop trading. But I don't have a set daily goal. So meaning, if I hit, 500, I'm done trading. I'll stop trading. No, it depends how I feel, what time of the day is, how things are moving in the market. It depends on a lot of things. So I don't have a set daily goal. But I'll tell you this: I'm above $300 a day. Or whatever number you feel comfortable with, then it's hard to take another trade, especially as it gets later into the day, because that's a pretty good number, right? You don't need to force it if you're doing something like that. And that number, guys, is just a number. That could be 150, that could be $1,000. It all depends. Everybody's different, so don't get hung up on the actual dollar amount. Focus on the process, right? Focus on the process. So the money's not important starting out. The process is, and that you're gonna learn that really, really fast as you continue to trade here.
Absolutely true.
All right, Roblox. Yeah, we looked at Roblox, guys, but it didn't look very good. On any other day, maybe, but we know the stock can be choppy. We know the spread times can be a little funky. On a day like today, where we have so much moving good here, moving well, we don't need to watch this one. That's just my opinion on it. Piton. I know Brian is talking about this one. Day looks interesting for a possible bounce if we can hold. We'll have to see. What else? Guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It really helps our channel, Norm and I and Jared as well. So if you appreciate the morning shows that we're doing here, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if it's your first time. We're live every morning at 8 a.m. starting with Jared engineering the markets, and then with Norm and I for the pre-market prep. Remember, tonight is going to be the rescheduled webinar for Andrew, right? So we're doing Andrew tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We were not able to do it yesterday, but we did have a great conversation in the chat room if you stuck around. So tonight 8 p.m. Andrew will be on for the success webinar in the webinar room. With that said, guys, 9:14. Thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube and also Trading View, guys. Really appreciate you guys being there. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing Wednesday. No.
Yeah.
Thursday? Wednesday. Have an amazing Wednesday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.